Well, hey there, everyone, and welcome to the VIP Trade Room with Roger Scott and Matt Horton. Today is Monday, January 5th, and Happy New Year to all of you that are joining us today. Now, my name is Raleigh White, and I'm coming to you live from a cloudy and overcast day here in Austin, Texas, and I'm going to be your moderator today. Now, in today's session, Roger's going to be covering a range of important topics with a continuing focus on trading small cap stocks, including he's going to be focusing today on how he pulls together his small cap watch list. He's going to share how he navigates those intraday support and resistance levels he gives us every morning and during the morning show. He's also going to review follow through trade strategies that he presented to us last week. He's going to share how he manages a trade for optimum results. And then he's going to give us a midday market update and what the top stocks are that he has his eyes on right now, as well as an earnings preview and what he sees lying ahead there as we get ready for earnings season. Now, if you've got any questions during Roger's presentation, please type them in the chat window, and which is something that I keep a close eye on, and we'll make sure that we will address them periodically throughout the session so as to not interfere with Roger's presentation. And also, folks, remember that I've opened the chat to everyone, but we do have some ground rules here. First of all, always be kind and supportive in your posts. Number two, keep to the topic. Number three, no political discussions allowed whatsoever. And also, folks, keep your side conversations to a minimum so that those that are not involved in those discussions can continue to focus on the education and information that Roger is sharing with us. Because after all, folks, he's here to give us an edge in the markets and help us all become more confident and consistent in our trading activities. Now, for those of you that joined us this morning for Roger's morning show, which is every day at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll note that there were several catalysts that we needed to be aware of today. On the chip front, we noted that Micron was up 3%, AMD was up 2%, and oh my gosh, Mystery was up 4%. That's Intel. Intel was up 4%. Sorry about that typo there. But so Micron was up 3, AMD was up 2%, and Intel was up 4%. On the energy front, wow, we saw that Schlumberger was up 10%, Halliburton 8%, Chevron was up 7%. And once again, all of this is in response to this weekend's activities in Venezuela. Also, on the crypto front, we saw that Bitcoin was up 1%, and it was having a profound impact on those stocks that are related to it. For example, like Coin, or on Mara, or on MSST, all of those were being impacted by that. We did note that on the foreign front that the Asian markets all closed up. Shanghai was up about 1%, and Nikkei was up 3%. As far as the Fed was concerned, we did have an ISM manufacturing report coming out at 10 a.m. So these are the things that we needed to keep an eye on. And for those that are wondering why we post these, well, Roger believes that if there is information that is either known, okay, or will be known during today's trading session, but may not yet be priced in the market, those are volatility flashpoints that we need to be aware of. So if we're considering placing trades, for example, in the chip or the energy sector, it's good to know where they are coming into the open. Now, as far as Roger's pre-market stock watch is concerned, now these are the large caps that he's got his eyes on. You can see today, pretty darn active, 28 tickers that he gave us this morning. On the short front, there were 11 tickers to the downside, and he went through each one of these and gave us some pretty good indications as what he was looking for there. On the long front, he saw 17 tickers there, and you'll note that several of these have asterisks. And what that means, if there's an asterisk there, that means that that's a really good A-line setup. So for those of you that know what an A-line setup is, you're in good shape right there. Anyway, 28 tickers. Now, these are all legitimate watch list stocks. Now, just because they're on the watch list doesn't mean that they're ready for prime time. All it means is they're setting up and they're showing potential. And if any of these tickers, for example, meet Rogers' qualifications, then I'm sure he's going to post them for us in the trading pit and in other of his premium trading alert services. Now, as far as his pre-market comments were concerned, we did note at 8 a.m. this morning that the futures markets were up, largely driven by tech stocks. We didn't see anything in the Dow, for example. He also pointed out that the put-call ratio was back in balance and that the VIX was still pretty low near its bottom. But there were three red flags that caught his attention. Number one, bonds continue to be very low in their range, and the key indices all appeared to be stalled solidly and consolidating between support and resistance. He also noted that there was no real clear momentum in the market and instability in the NASDAQ 100. So, for example, when we were looking at with regard to momentum, he noted that there were only 81 stocks making 90-day highs and 64 making 90-day lows. And his point was, how do we expect the markets to move when we don't have stocks really doing much there? And as far as the Nasdaq is concerned, he was worried about the fact that of the Nasdaq 100, only 42% of them were above their 50-day moving average. So a red flag there. And he also noted that on the sector rotation front, everything appeared to be favoring defensive stocks at this point. The bottom line to all that was his recommendations were, folks, remember, it is a Monday, and Mondays typically start out slow. And he also recommended that you really do nothing until after the report comes out at 10 o'clock. If anything, you might want to liquidate some profitable positions Monday morning. He also pointed to the fact that at least during the open today, before the open, the markets were divergent. What he means by that is that you had the tech sector, like the NASDAQ and the QQQ, were moving higher, but that the Dow was moving in the opposite direction or not responding. So that's a divergence to be aware of. He also pointed out that once again, it's low volume, and he doesn't expect institutions to start coming back into the market until we start to see the day move forward and for the rest of this week. And his final point was this: if you see an opportunity that looks good to you, please, please, please wait for a solid confirmation signal before you go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. So, we've got a great group of folks joining us. And once again, we're so happy that you're here. And I just want to say once again, Happy New Year to all of you, and that we're excited about what lays ahead in 2026. Now, the focus for today's agenda, there's a lot of things we're going to be covering, but there is a continuing, once again, focus on trading small cap stocks. And so, what Roger's going to do this morning, he's going to share how he pulls together that small cap watch list. Okay. He's also going to share with us how he navigates those critical intraday support and resistant levels that he consistently gives out every day and during the 8 o'clock morning show. He's then going to go ahead and review the follow through trade strategies that he introduced to us last Friday. He's going to show us how he manages a trade for optimum results. And then he's going to give us a midday market update, what some of the top stocks are that he's looking at, and an earnings preview as to what lies ahead as we get ready for earnings season. Now, if you've got any questions during Roger's presentation, please, folks, type that in the chat window and we'll address them periodically throughout the session so that we don't interfere with Roger's presentation. And also remember, folks, we have opened the chat room to everyone, but we do have some ground rules. Number one, always be kind and supportive in your posts. Number two, keep to the topic. Number three, stay away from political discussions. Also, keep your side conversations to a minimum so that those of us that aren't involved in those side conversations can really focus on the education and the information that Roger is sharing. Because after all, he is here to give us an edge in the markets and to help us all become much more confident and consistent in our trading activities. And with that, folks, hey, let's say hi to the team. Good morning, Matt. Happy New Year to you.
Hey,
Morning or good afternoon, and Happy New Year to you as well.
thank you,
Happy New
sir. How are
Year.
you today?
I'm doing just great, Roger. It's I tell you what, 2025 seemed to me that it was on hyperspeed. I don't know what happened. It started and it disappeared quickly. And it's hard for me to get used to the fact that I'm putting 26 on my dates. You know what I mean? It just feels strange. But anyway, here we are, and we're off to an interesting start, but I think it's going to be a good year. And just looking at today, Roger, once again, I sat through the morning show as I always do with you, taking notes. And I remember you said the one thing that bothered you a little bit this morning was that there was a divergence in the market. And then the markets open up, and I'm watching the mini Dow, and it is up 778 points.
Hmm.
So the Dow decided to wake up and say, "Hey, I want to join the party."
Yep. Yep. And SMH is also up about 1.75. But if you look
Amazing.
at MAGs, they're also up over 1%. I mean, things are not looking bad right now.
No.
But I don't like this congestion, this consolidation that we've been seeing. The
Right.
problem is, and let me just share my screen. We need to get out of this. I hope you had a good weekend.
I did.
Hope
I did. I
everybody had a
watched a
nice,
lot of football.
good, good for you. Good for you. You could see it right here. You could see it actually right here. We got to get above this area right here.
Hmm.
We got to get above. Until we get above, nothing good's going to happen. That's the major problem. The good news, well, actually, let me change. Let's write this. The here, here. Okay. This is better. Okay. So here, you can see what I'm talking about right here. I like what I'm seeing. We're above the 8-day EMA. We're far away from here, but we got to get out of this. We got to get out of this area. We got a
Hmm.
lot of stuff here, and we need to get out of it. If we don't get out of it, it's going to be a big problem. And if you look at if you look at mega caps, they're just kind of sitting here right now. And yeah, we're up, but we're still below the 50-day moving average. We're below the 8-day. We're not really going anywhere. So I'm not really. I know a lot of folks are really hyper bullish here. I'm not. I'm still very, very neutral. The QQQ has a long ways to go, a long ways to go. And remember, this is the swing high. We need to get above here till we're really serious. So I'm going to be very, very cautious and not going in huge size until we kind of break out of this consolidation here. And that's the big problem for me. Also, if you look at today's range on the SPY, see this, you see the quality of these candles
Yeah.
right here? This is very, 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 very choppy price action. It's moving in the right direction, but it's very, very choppy, and it's telling us that there's not a lot of firepower here. Now, when there's not a lot of firepower, it's much easier to move the market. So I think what we're seeing some movement of the market, but we're not seeing anything on all fours. Like right now, the amount of volume, we're about 50%. See, on the Dow, we're at 80% of the average on the daily volume. On the mega caps, on the QQQs, we're at about 50%. On SMH, we're at 86%. On RSP, we're at 71%. That's blue chips, but not on the QQQ. QQQ is only at 50% right now. So volume is a problem here. And as we all painfully know, we're not going to get very high up without the QQQ participating. That's a major, major issue. So I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing here, but not enough to start thinking that we're out of the zone. In other words, I think we have a limit. I think we have upside right now, but I think it's limited till we can get above these areas. And again, if you look at the bond market's now moving higher here, which is great. I'm hoping this is the bottom. We have a high volume candle here. So I'm going to use that as a support level right there. That's going to be a very strong support. Also, notice something. In this area right here, where's the highest volume candle? Right here. Okay? That's huge. That's very, very important. Okay? Because that's told us that price was going down and there was a lot of demand at this price. Once it started going down to here, there's no more demand. Okay? So this is telling us that there's a lot of demand around this area, right? Not here, but right here. Not here, but right here. There's a
right
lot of
there.
demand for this asset right here. Look at this right here. We almost came down to this area. These are all high volume bars. And so there's a lot of support, and I'm hoping that this is the bottom and we don't break this level. Because if we break this level, we don't have much we don't have much here till we get all the way down here.
Yeah. Okay.
See that?
Yep.
That's the problem that's the major problem we have right now. The major problem we have right now. Okay? So looking at each individual, let me just quickly look here. Looking at each individual sector. Geez, I have a lot of stuff open as you can see here. Always scheming something. Always scheming something. You could see right here. Right now, we have a good amount of breakouts to the upside. That's very healthy. And I mean, it's still early, I think, for this, but semiconductors, industrial, this morning, QQQ was all the way down here. It's already moving up with technology. So what I'm hoping for is that we can get all the speculative sectors, all the interest rate sensitive sectors up here from here. Russell 2000 is moving up, retail is moving up. Just to show you what I'm talking about, we don't have to go far. Retail, Russell 2000, technology, QQQ, consumer discretionary. That's few hours, that's over the weekend. Right now, Russell 2000, mid caps. See what I'm saying? It's starting to move in the right direction. QQQ is from all the way from here, all the way here in just a few hours. That's really positive. So we are starting to see some goodness, but again, we're not out of the woods just yet. That's the problem. I like what I'm seeing. We're not out of the danger zone just yet. That's probably the best way I could put it. If you look at sector strength, I mean, look at the SPY. Just look at this price action. This is not institutions dying to buy this. This is a pretty big split between buyers and sellers here. You know, that's not, look, no big candles at all since we opened. Not one big candle since we opened. So I'm just not buying it. You know, not yet, at least, not yet.
And
Technologies.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Sorry,
so
please.
Roger, quick
Yes.
couple of questions that came
Yes.
up on this, and that is this. So, given where things are, what are the kind of catalysts you think might drive these moves to be higher? Do you think companies are waiting on earnings, or is it a combination of earnings and the macro news that's going on? Is there anything that you're thinking of that could be the spark to drive them higher?
Well, first of all, we got New Year's. I think a lot of institutions are really hungry right now to start accumulating.
Okay,
Remember, the
okay.
stock market's moving up. We got that. But again, they usually, like, I just went to the parking lot, okay, a few minutes ago. I went to get something out of my car. Half the parking lot is still empty,
Yeah, that's true.
okay? Half the park. You guys driving to work today, whoever drove to work, I mean, I don't know. Did you guys notice traffic is still lighter?
Hmm.
We're still in that holiday mode. Institutions don't come back usually till sixth or or later. So I'm not saying this isn't bullish. I'm just saying I'm not really seeing any firepower here.
Right.
I mean, we do have a nice gap and we're defending the gap, and this is great. But if you zone out, you could see we have a long I got something in my eye. Sorry. You could see we got to clear these levels here.
Hmm.
We got to clear these levels. I mean, Raleigh, this morning, I don't know if you were there or not. I think you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, this morning I was showing folks how
Yeah,
we
the
had this was
Nasdaq 100. Yep.
43, it was 43% here. This was 43%. That's not great. We're literally just kind of sitting right at the 50-day moving average, folks, and that doesn't yield a lot of certainty. So the question is, what can change things? I'll tell you exactly what can change things. Some certainty with Venezuela wouldn't hurt, okay? Although the market seems to be completely ignoring it, except for Bitcoin.
Bitcoin and energy stocks.
Yeah. But energy stocks are not really reacting the right in the short
No, I
term.
meant
This
the
is
Halliburtons and the Schlumbergers, the
yes.
infrastructure companies.
Right.
Yep.
with U.S. controlling Venezuela, that's like having the fox in the hen hound. You know what I'm
House.
saying?
Yes, it is.
And so it's kind of like, and think about this. They have the largest supply of oil in the world right now. Okay, the largest, over 1%, more than the Middle East. Granted, it's not. It's very thick crude oil, the kind we have in North America. But nonetheless, you got Americans in there, there's a reason why. But here's the good part. This will bring energy prices lower
Mhm.
because they're going to loosen this supply, and it's going to cause Putin to become poorer and end the war faster. So this could have been a really cool, a very smart political move. That's like, playing chess, like two, three steps ahead to kind of kill two, three birds with one stone. Okay. And by the way, I'm not the only one who thinks this. There are several hedge fund managers who think exactly the same thing. Okay. So I'm not the only one coming up with this miraculous theory. I'm not that smart. Again, I'm not see this price action that makes me nervous right now. This is just not saying we're gonna crash or burn or anything. I'm just saying this price action isn't making me feel warm and fuzzy at all. I want to see some big candles. I want to see some big size candles. I want to see something major here. So far, we haven't seen anything that exciting.
Mhm.
Okay, Matt, are you shorting here?
No.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so so what was the other question? You said there was other questions.
Oh no, that was the main one right there at this point in time was just the question with regard to what do you think might spike uh, you know,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
so
movement.
the
And
answer
I think the thing is this, is you're right. It's the beginning of the year. The institutions are
is the
coming
beginning of
back
the year.
in.
And
Yep.
earnings
Yeah,
are
and earnings.
earnings are
Yep.
coming starting later this week. It's the initial flow of earnings, time spreads, folks, time spreads, and anchor spreads. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great again. Time spreads, my friends. Time spreads. I'm doing this. By the way, we had a winner on the high flyers today. We had a trade. It was a nice winner. Some folks made good money. We also had a couple of scalps in the pit. Folks made money, and we took profit on weekly cash flow, uh, true trend, stealth surge. Anything else, Matt?
Weekly cash flow.
Yeah, weekly cash flow, stealth surge, and true trend. So we're on a good start this week. And Friday we took a whopper of a winner in Micron. So I don't know. I have the chat closed for obvious reasons, but I'm hoping that people took advantage of that and made some moolah.
Yeah.
Good, 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 good.
Oh, A line.
A line
A
and a line.
lines.
So yes, there was an A line, there was a stealth surge, there was a true trend, and there was a weekly cash flow, and there was a high flyer, and several pit trades. So
Terrific.
I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing around here.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Today's my last day. Today is my last day home alone. My wife comes home tomorrow.
Okay.
And so I was working all day yesterday. I was putting my computer together. I was doing a webinar. I had a really good work day, and so I miss her already. It's time for her to come back. Me left alone to my own devices for more than a few days is not a good idea. All right, so folks, I want to teach you something today, but first I want to give you my watch list stocks. Okay,
All
let me give you
right.
my watch list stocks. I know everybody loves when I give them my watch list stocks, so I'll give you my watch list stocks. We'll do the short side first. Okay. Yeah, let's do that first. I really like this stock a lot. But anyway, let's do the short side first. Adobe. Now, I wouldn't be selling it right now unless it broke this level here and traded below the VWAP. But this is definitely a short candidate right now. Definitely a short candidate. You may want to wait for it to come up a little bit more, up to the 50-day. I would set my alert, honestly. What I would do right now is I would set my alert a hair below the 50-day and wait for it to try to break. Because usually what happens, let me kind of lead you through it. We have a little bit of time today. I'm not in a rush. As you could see, we're below the American flag, and we have a nice fat big breakout here on high volume below the 50-day, which is significant. Today, it made a lower low, and volume looks like it's going to be pretty good too. Now, this thing is ready to pull back and test this area. What you want to see is this. You don't want Adobe to recover, like come up here. You don't want that. You want Adobe to come up. You want Adobe to come up here, right here, and start turning around and reject the 50-day line. That way, you could put your stop loss just, reasonably above the 50-day moving average, taking into account the noise that the $6.80, which is the ATR, the movement of this stock. So I like Adobe, but I wouldn't be not at this moment. Okay, just FYI, I would put it on my watch list with an alert right here. Okay. All right. Altria Group. That is a very nice short. It's a very nice short. And look, you're below all this crap right here. That's a nice short. It's not overextended either. Right off the VWAP. That is a nice short. Volume is good. Okay. GIS. All the consumer staples are really weak. I mean, I could go down the list, but GIS, CPB, they're all doing the same thing. This one looks really good, and this one looks really good as well. This one here looks a little bit better because you're right at the 8-day EMA, I think. Well, whereas GIS is extended from the 8-day EMA. So you have CPB, you have the 8-day to lean on right here. In other words, you could put your stop right there. Okay. So look how all day it's trading below the VWAP. All day. All day. It looks like it's going to have higher volume. We're already here today. Looks like it's going to have higher volume. I do like this first short. GFL, very choppy. There's probably better looking stocks, right? It's actually being bought up right now like crazy. Look at that. But it's probably better stocks because it's so choppy. And it hasn't broken through this. There's better stocks than this. I would just watch this if I were you. Look, if you get suckered into this, it's no good. Okay. Logitech. Logitech has a profit target of 200-day moving average. So you've got about 2.5, 3 points here. You could trade it with a stop loss right here and a profit target right here. You could do a 1-to-1. Okay? On Logitech. And I like how volume has been increasing and it's been going down. High volume candle, pulls back to the 8-day, starts coming back down again. It's very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, let's look at the long side now. Excuse me, Morgan Stanley. It's a very nice looking stock. Starting to get a little overextended. Good for a day trade right now, right off the VWAP. Volume isn't that high though. Financials are looking good. Look at Citibank, same thing. Yes, we made some good coin on Citibank. I know I got a lot of emails. Folks took some scalps. I gave this as a scalp today, Raleigh.
Terrific.
A lot of folks made money on it today. Well, I don't know a lot, but there's almost 2,000 people in the room, so I'm assuming a lot of people made money on it. Western Digital looks good. It does look good. It's got good positioning. UPS is looking really good around here, actually. Looking really good. If you can get above this area here, you got an area right there. So you got some room here. I like this. And I like how it went right to the 15 and then coming back right now. Okay. JCI, nice looking stock. Very nice looking industrial stock. Basic materials industrial stock. Albemarle, another basic material stock. I really like this stock a lot. This thing can fly. Really can fly. Let me just check something right now. Yeah, Oracle is just not doing us any favors right now. Okay, let's continue. UAL is looking really good. Actually, really good right now. Oh, you know what? I think I got I took a trade on UAL and I had a target at 116, so I'm out. Richie, you and I should be out of UAL. Uh, Matt, wasn't UAL one of the trades that you took profit on today? No?
No.
Okay. Okay. You're taking so much profit, I can't keep up with you. CCL, another really nice trade that I like right now. A lot, actually. Full disclosure, I'm long CCL in my own account right now. Merck. That looks like a Matt. Matt, do you have any place to put it? Look at it right now. It looks really good. It's coming up above the VWAP right now. Take a look at Merck when you get a chance. Okay.
Mhm.
RTX. Another, Venezuela war. They make a lot of industrial aerospace things. A lot of things for war. Deck. That is a very nice swing trade right there with some upside potential. Right above the 200. Nice, clean trend. Okay. I really like how that looks. I do like how that looks. Also, take a look at Deck, Matt, okay? For one of our pro. Yeah. Key, I like. Again, a bank stock, no surprise. I mean, look at this stock and look at Citibank. I mean, they look exactly the same. This is when I say one to a customer. I mean, look at Morgan Stanley, look at Citibank. See how they're doing the same thing? Not a lot of you. A few of you will go and buy every financial stock there is, like Schwab, Citibank, more, and then you lose money. We'll lose on one trade, you lose money on four trades. And then when you make money, you think you're a genius, but all you did was triple or quadruple leveraged yourself. So don't get so excited about that. That's not how you make money. That's how you lose money over time. Had to say that. Okay, that's my long list. Now, I'm going to teach you something right now.
Hey,
And
Roger, before we move
yes,
on from
yes,
the
yes, yes,
stocks, several people asked the question, when you say
yes.
scalping, what do you mean by scalping?
That means trades that, okay, so I'll tell you what I mean by scalping. Okay, I'll tell you what I mean by scalping. Generally, scalping means very quick trades, quick to get in, quick to get out, a quarter here, 50 cents there. Now, I used to give those trades out a lot as official trades in the pit, and people would get pissed off at me. Because I would see them, giving me like the emojis, because they were too fast for some people. Because I'd be in and out in like 5 minutes sometimes, 10 minutes. So what I do now is I just say, hey, I'm scalping this stock. And that's it. You want to scalp it with me? You scalp it with me. You don't want to scalp it with me? But at least they know it's a scalp so they can like stay in or stay. So, but a scalp means
It
quick,
is. You're
fast.
just shaving a quick profit. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. This is a yay, ba boom, ba bum, ba bum. We're done. We're finished. We're not looking for like a massive win, and you got to be very timely. So if I'm giving an issue trade, you can assume that's going to be a little more longer term. But if I'm saying I'm scalping the stock, that means I'm scalping the stock. That means it's a scalp. Just take a little piece and move on. Hit and run type of trades. Hit and run type of trades.
You bet. And folks, for those of you that are asking for just a recap of all the small stocks and the shorts and the longs, I'm posting here a link to the VIP trade room. And you can get an instant replay of this VIP session by going to Roger's YouTube channel. So for those of you that would like a refresher over what Roger just did, and Roger, I love the way you do that. You bring up the stocks. As you said, every chart tells a story. You tell the story, you move to the next one. You tell the story, you move to the next one. So folks, once again, you can get instant access to this by just going to Roger's YouTube channel. Sorry, Roger.
No, no, that's okay. That's okay. Any other questions before we move to the next segment?
Nope, let's go.
Okay, okay. Now, folks, and actually, what's cool is I found right before we came on live, I found a really good example to use for this example. Okay, now, before you start thinking, oh, well, he's going to talk about small caps. I don't trade small cap. This applies to everything you trade. What I'm going to talk about right now applies whether you trade IBM and NVIDIA or you trade this stock here. Okay. It's actually a really good example. Okay. I love finding good examples. So, and this is a big, big mistake I see a lot of folks make. Okay. And when I say a lot of folks, I say most professional traders make this mistake. Okay. They don't seem to get it. I don't know why, but I'm going to explain it to you. And I'll explain to you now. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the small cap as an example. What I'm going to show you applies to everything we do, large caps and small caps. The reason you know how I have high volume candles are white, large caps and small caps. I don't discriminate. It just happens to be more pronounced and obvious with small caps. So I'm going to teach you using small caps and explain how it applies to high flyers. But it applies to every one of my programs. It applies to anything you ever touched. It applies to how you look at the market. It's going to be the most important thing you will learn this week. I'm telling you. And yes, you will keep making this mistake till you really learn it the hard way. But I'm going to try to explain it to you anyway. So see how we have a high volume candle here? Okay. The principle, just understand the principle. You don't have to get too deep into this, okay? So this is a high volume candle today. Okay, Roger, why didn't you take this trade? You could have, I mean, look at this, Roger. You could have got this stock in at look at this, at like 130. You could have doubled your money on this thing. What's wrong with you, man? Why didn't you take this trade? I'll explain to you why I didn't take this trade, okay? Look back. You see these high volume bars? Look. Okay. Okay. These high volume bars, they provide overhead resistance for us. Okay. Now, let's say you have a high volume bar like here. Oh, okay. Well, here. Let's say you have a high volume bar right here, or even right here. Okay. Well, first off, this bar is smaller than this bar. Second of all, that's only one part of it. Look at the high of this bar. See this? This morning when this stock was breaking out, it was below these levels right here. So my point is this. These levels provide overhead resistance for us. They provide overhead resistance because look what happens. You have a high volume day here, okay? All the buyers that bought here, they lose money. A lot of them keep holding. And they keep holding and holding and holding and holding and holding till the next level comes in. But this high couldn't get above this level. That's overhead resistance. Why? Because all the folks who are suckered in here are waiting to sell when price goes above. You understand? Like right here, for example. So all the folks who are bag holders right here, and in our premium session, I'm going to show you how to mathematically calculate how many shares were bought here and how many were distributed here going into here, so we know how many net negative are still being held from these levels. How about them apples, huh? But let's just right now focus on the big picture. So if I see high volume bars preceding today's high volume bars, I need to see where that price was. So for example, let's say this high volume bar and the price went up here. Well, what do I care? I'm already up here. They've all those bag holders they've already been dealt with. But if my bag holders are here and here and here, that means all of this will create overhead supply zones for me. That means they'll be selling into this. They'll be selling into this rally. I want a rally where there's no sellers going into that rally. And the only way to determine if there's no sellers going into that rally is when you don't have all this overhead supply. So how does overhead supply get done with? Okay, well, number one, that overhead supply, see this candle? Well, let's say this high went up only up to here. Then we would know that everybody who bought here is now making money because we're going higher and here we have more volume. But all of these candles, or most of these candles, are above this level, which is when where the stock. Remember, the stock was right here this morning, 130. This is where the stock was this morning. Okay, so you see all these hills we had to overcome, all these high volume hills we had to overcome. That's a lot of volume in here. That's a lot of people saying, okay, I bought this shitty stock, JCSI. I bought the stock at let's just say 180, 170, okay? Oh, it's at 125 now, 130. As soon as the stock goes to 171, I'm out of this stock. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a bunch of sellers come in here, which is exactly what happened right here. Right in this area, you had a bunch of sellers come in. You know who these sellers are? They're the buyers who bought here, 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 and here, and here, and here, and here. You understand? Has anyone ever explained it like that to you before? Just want to make sure. Because you can actually take, here, you can actually take, there are tools that you could use to take the buying pressure that happened right here. Let's just say I'm going to make this up just to illustrate a point, but let's just say it's 15 million shares that are stuck here. Okay. We got to wait for 15,000 shares to trade here, at least. Oh, then you have another one right here. Well, what is this guy doing? He's trying to buy up, but he's got these guys to deal with because we still have some overhead supply here. So you understand why I didn't pick the stock on our watch list today? Now you're probably thinking, well, Roger, I don't trade these small cap stocks. So what do I care? Well, guess what? Give me one large cap stock. Give me a ticker symbol. Raleigh, any ticker symbols?
Come on, folks, give us a ticker symbol.
Just one ticker symbol.
Apple.
Okay, perfect. There's your overhead supply zone. There's your overhead supply zone. There's your overhead supply zone. All this are little overhead supply zones. Understand? Same thing, no difference. You can't gauge volume as easily with large caps as you can with small caps. So we have to just use 25% over the average. But that's right here. So if I'm trading Apple, if I'm gonna go long Apple, okay, let's say Apple is here right now. I'm gonna make sure that I get out when we're around here, or at least reduce my exposure when we're around here, because we have overhead supply zones here, also known as resistance. Yes. Does that make sense to everybody? Is what I'm saying. So a lot of times when you're asking yourself, hey, why didn't Roger give? There's three stocks. Why didn't Roger give these three small cap stocks? They look great. It's because they've got these overhead zones. You understand? And we can't trust these overhead zones because this overhead zone right here. Remember, I want these stocks to go to 1,000, right? I want the stock to have the biggest day in its life. It had bigger volume spike here, right there. All these folks who bought here and bought here, a lot of them are still sitting and waiting for the price to come up, and they're going to be selling to you. There's a lot of seller. Look at volume. Look at the highest volume bar. Right here. A lot of sellers came in here. We don't want to have that. Now, it applies more to smaller cap stocks, but it applies across the board everywhere. And if you don't take that into account, you're making your job much, much harder. Why do I always like buying at new highs? Can anybody tell me? I'm going to turn on the chat. Why do I like buying new highs? UAL is a large cap, David. This is a small cap. No resistance. You have no sellers above you.
Right.
There's no one to sell anything to you.
It's clear air.
Clear air, fresh air, blue skies. Exactly. So what I'm trying to create every time I give you one of these small caps and to a large degree, the large caps, I'm trying to give you as much clear skies as possible. You see, if you're dealing with small caps, there's no other way to do it. But if you're dealing with large caps and you want your win rate to go from 70 to 85 higher, these are the little nuances you have to look at. How far are you from the 8-day EMA? How much overhead supply do you have? Is volume picking up? What is the quality of your trend? You understand? You got to start looking at things that 90% of traders don't look at. Hence, your win rate will be higher than 90% of all traders. You got to look at it. You know, I'll tell you guys something interesting. My wife has left me, as she always does, beginning of the year, to go skiing with my daughter. I'm left with Clyde. So you know what I usually do? I usually watch TV shows and movies linked to today's session. It'll be right here, HG. I'll be talking about it right here. You don't have to go anywhere. There's no link. Matt, can you hook me up?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you something interesting. You guys will like this. So when my wife goes out of town, I try to use that time wisely, like do things that, that don't involve her. So I usually create a list of movies that I want to watch. And I watch those movies when she's not around because she doesn't like it. So she doesn't like racing movies, right? And I love racing movies. So I'm a big racing fan. So I was watching this weekend, I was watching F1 with Brad Pitt.
Yep.
And all-star cast, amazing movie. I had the best time watching it. I had my Sony headphones on. I had a field day. You know, these folks are competing to drive cars, right? I don't know if anybody here has seen the movie, but just let me just give you an example of what they do. They walk the track before the event. They walk the track. I mean, why would you walk the track? They spend hours in the simulator doing what if scenarios. They do. I mean, I was literally watching them. They're like, replay this scenario, replay this scenario, replay this scenario. Just hold on for a second. Just hear me out, okay? They talk about they talk about their support system and how their support system has to help them out. And I was watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, these guys are training exactly the way I train for trading. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. TJ, you're in the wrong room. You should be in customer service live with those questions. Thank you. So my point is, anytime you prepare yourself to do something, to like trade your money against the world's best traders, you should prepare yourself. They have a log where they journal every one of their, they do exactly the same thing I tell you guys to do. Do you realize that? I mean, I've never seen the movie before. It was my first time. Everything I tell you guys to do, these guys are doing before a major race. It's the same thing. So my question to you is this. They're competing against the best car drivers in the world, right? You're competing against the best traders in the world. And let me ask you the next question, which I think you painfully know what it'll be. Are you as prepared as they are? Are you as prepared as I am? If you're not, remember, somebody's going to make money, somebody's going to lose money. Every share gets bought, and every share has a buyer and a seller. And we're not buy and hold investors. So that whole we're all going to make money kumbaya shit doesn't work with me. Okay, so let's just winner and loser. Okay. But now you have Dr. Luke, right? That's why I'm bringing it up, because most people haven't thought of it. They do exactly the same thing we do. They go to war. They're in combat mode. Okay? Yeah, I saw that one too, Ruck. That was my second one. That's what I was talking about, walking the track. I saw Ford versus Ferrari as well, but I saw that one before. That was the second time I watched it. Yeah, sounds like astronaut training, any kind of training. If you go to an Olympic, I had a lady, a friend of mine. She used to be the trainer for an Olympic team, Hungarian Olympic team. She's a good friend of my family's. She came here to visit us 20 years ago. I spent a lot of time with her. Great lady. Um, and she would tell us everything they would do, and I'm like, these people, they leave no stone unturned. They leave no stone unturned. They know exactly what they're getting at. They know exactly what they're preparing for. They know exactly what everything is doing. They know everything that's happening. Most of these, and another thing that was really interesting, notice both in both movies, Brad Pitt and the other guy, they knew the mechanical part of the car cold.
Hmm.
They knew they knew more than anyone else. They had the most experience. That's what I want. That's why I spent all this time live with you guys. So over time, it will rub off.
Yeah, the analogy I like, Roger, is like a pre-flight checklist. And even though a pilot has maybe flown 1,000 times, they
Yes,
still go through the same checklist every time before they push the throttles and decide to fly.
exactly, exactly, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm telling you guys, if you guys think that it's any different, then this is not a competitive sport or a competitive event. You're completely missing out. So I wanted to explain to you this. I'm going to move on to something else right now. I want to do a lot of folks. I got a bunch of emails, Raleigh. Um, it's been exited a long time ago, SD. It's a scalp. I don't talk about exiting scalps or anything like that. Um, so a lot of folks missed our class. A lot of folks were playing hooky last week, and I got an email. Roger, are you going to have a replay? Are you going to have a replay? Are you going to have a replay? So the folks here at the pub asked me to do it again. So I'm going to do it because a lot of folks were really interested in hearing it, and because we've had some really good winners since we launched it. Three really nice winners. A lot of folks took advantage. Did anybody comment here, Raleigh, on the winners today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, absolutely. Not only the
Good.
small caps, but those that you issued in the pit.
Good, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. So let me go ahead and get this ready. Can you open the doormat? It's a little stuffy here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this ready, and I'm gonna give you guys a fantastic class. If you haven't heard it yet, you guys are really gonna, thanks, Matt. You guys are gonna really enjoy this. And we added some goodies because we had some winners, so we added some goodies here. So here it is. Please pay attention. Don't go anywhere. If you missed out because you were out, I got more emails about a replay than I've seen before. I guess a lot of people are coming in right now. It's amazing how empty the parking lot here was. How about the streets where you live, Raleigh? Are they still
Yeah,
pretty?
matter of fact, surprisingly quiet, but also, schools are still closed here as well. I think schools don't really start up until tomorrow here in the Austin area.
Right.
So, but
Same
you're
here.
right, the traffic has been extremely light.
Yeah. 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 So, okay. So it's not just here on this
And
part.
let's just, Roger, if you don't mind, let's just advise all of those on YouTube to please join us
Oh,
in the Zoom room at this point, because from this point going forward, we're not allowed to do promotional events on YouTube or play music. And so at this point in time, we have to shut down the broadcast to YouTube, and we encourage you all to rejoin us here in the Zoom room for what's coming next.
exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, folks, we're going to begin this right now. Please, please, please tune out all your distractions. That includes me closing the chat, which I just did. That I'm the first one to take that advice. And please, please, any questions?